It's 8:30 Eastern Time, the only time zone allowed to hire the next LSU head football coach, and that means that it's time for C2C Live, brought to you by CampusToCanton.com. On a Creole version of tonight's show, we're covering the open head coach position at LSU. That's kind of what the hot topic is right now. We're going to make our case for who should win the Heisman this year, plus our weekly top 25 rankings, all of that and more, right after the stinger. All right, C2C is live, blah, 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 that good stuff. Chris K, Matt Bruening was around here somewhere a minute ago. I'm sure he'll come back, and Austin Nace here. There he is. There he is with his generic NFL sweatshirt on, as we commented pre-show here.
Oh, was I supposed to respond to that? No, it's the London game one. My bad. I didn't know if I was supposed to just let that bit go or not.
No, you're good. You're good.
A Creole version of C2C Live. What does that mean? How can we Creole this up?
We're just talking LSU. Maybe we can all talk with accents like Brian Kelly did.
It probably sound like he did that time too.
Mm-hmm. I don't think I have a good one in me. Anybody? I mean, Chris, you've lived down there.
Not even gonna try. Not even trying.
No, same. You guys have already forced me to do a really bad Southern accent back with Judge Devra, so I'm not ever attempting any other accents on the show again.
Would you say you have a bit of a Texas accent, Matt?
I do not know. I don't believe so.
Okay.
You sound pretty neutral, like nothing.
I like to keep it that way. Very neutral in everything I do in life. Very neutral. No biases.
Got a little Texas.
Switzerland over here.
Exactly. Yeah. Have to be with Austin and his pit love. And, Mox, when he used to be on here for whoever Mox used to always, I don't know who Mox would trumpet for anymore now. He's been gone so long. Miss you, buddy. Me, just neutral party. Very, very neutral. Love college football in general and the NFL. That's it.
Come on now. Chris Moxley's a South Carolina guy through and through.
Oh, I don't know why I forgot about that. Yeah, it is South Carolina. I forgot.
With little Rutgers dabbled in there. He roots for the little guy.
What's his Rutgers connection?
He grew up in Jersey.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's right. I remember back in the old days of the good C2C Live when we did, not that it's not good now because Chris is here.
Shit.
I know. I said that. I was like, it's probably a really mean thing to say. No, back we used to do the after show all the time, and we would have like sit and talk, and we would have like just a long hour-long discussions of nothing. I remember the one episode would be like the gabagoo, and he would do the Jersey accent. That's why it clicked in my mind when you said Jersey.
Yeah. Big Rutgers guy, Chris Moxley. All right, let's get into this. Except I will just say, like the video, subscribe, all that good stuff. If you're hanging out here live with us, and if you are listening to us on the podcast feed, give us a 5-star rate and review while you're at it. Just go ahead and do that. And listen to all the other shows on the network. Balling with My Bestie is apparently supposed to be very controversial this week. We'll see if that ends up being the case or not. I have not listened. I sign off on nothing.
Did you listen to last week's and figure out why we kind of had the idea of?
It's literally next on my queue. So I am just so far behind and not catching up anytime soon. I don't think. But
the cold weather really slows me down because I usually listen to stuff on walks, and so if I go on less walks, it really beats me up. But yeah, just go to like 2x speed, and you'll be back in no time.
Do you guys do sped up podcasts? Is that a thing? Like I don't. I listen to normal speed personally.
I do 1.3x speed. I feel like that's a good
very
one.
Specific. Okay.
Yeah, 1.3x.
So sometimes, like, I'll probably do it next week because I've been off for a couple of days this week, and it's the same thing. Like, I work, and my job allows me to be kind of by myself all the time, so I'm constantly listening to podcasts, my 10-hour work shifts. So when I'm not working, I tend not to listen to any podcasts. So I've tried it before doing like the 1.2 or something. I don't know. It gets me. I feel like I'm like moving faster than I should, if that makes sense. Like I don't like it goes. Like if you're so used to intro music to the intros to certain podcasts, everything, they go so fast and I don't know. To me, it's weird. And I always slow it down I have to say, what's the name of the show again? I forgot. This is really bad. As a founder of this network, it is on our feed. Arguably the best intro in the business.
Who's back to
Debbie
Debbie?
Debate or whatever.
Yeah, back to Debbie. There we go. I was going to say Debbie Debate too, because Debbie Debate is the actual best Debbie show that was ever on this network. But yes, back to Debbie, just because it reminds me of Stranger Things for some reason, which I love that show. So
I like the dramatic. Is that Mike that does that? Like the dramatic, like back.
This is back
It's like whatever it is. I'm like, speed it up like 4x, and it probably is still pretty slow. I will say, don't ever like if you like what you're doing, don't go back, because I can't listen to anything on regular speed. You guys sound drunk, like incoherently drunk. That's
Maybe
how
I am.
Everybody, I listen to one of the NFL fantasy podcasts. I can't do it. If I go 1x speed again, it's like pull my hair out. So I would recommend just staying at 1x if you like it. Don't ever go to 1.3.
Well, Matt, a real big surprise if you listen to this week's Back to Debbie. That's all I'm gonna say.
I know you're on there. I immediately marked it as played as soon as I saw that on Twitter this morning.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. All right, let's I guess we'll finally, 6 minutes into this, talk about some LSU stuff, since that's what we're supposed to be leading off with here. I think by now anybody actually listening to this show knows that Brian Kelly was fired at LSU. I think there's a lot to talk about here because it's so funny. It's like the opposite of when someone dies and all of a sudden you only hear the good stuff about them. Brian Kelly got fired and everyone was just like, F that dude. He's a piece of shit. Like, it's been wild the last 48 hours, honestly. Just really, really interesting stuff. Finishes up at LSU 34-14, which doesn't sound that bad, but they never really got that close to the playoff while he was there, like realistically, and are pretty much eliminated this year. I feel pretty good saying that at this point. I don't know. Initial thought, Matt, as what are you doing there, buddy?
My bad.
Gotta make me sit up over here.
We hated this hire initially, so I think we feel a little. I remember we were very like, this is really stupid that they did this at the time.
Yeah, I'm actually not that surprised on the everybody coming out now and talking about, how, I don't want to say a horrible of a person he was, just how much he was disliked as a coach. Because I remember when he left Notre Dame and the famous press conference of, well, I'm going somewhere where I can win national championships because I can't do that at Notre Dame. Subsequent, what was it, 3 years after Notre Dame ends up making the national championship against the Ohio State Buckeyes. They lost it, but at least they made it. I don't know that Brian Kelly ever made it.
He did. He went to the championship against, I want to say it was against that game against Alabama where they got freaking smoked. Yeah. Okay,
I couldn't remember if that was Kelly or not, but the funny thing about that is if you remember when he left, and sure, I'm sure some of it was Marcus Freeman just honestly seems to be a really good guy and a really good coach, but that team could not have been more ecstatic for him to be the head coach over Brian Kelly leaving, which I thought kind of spoke volumes of Brian Kelly then. But yeah, I've said from the beginning that which I believe he got hired the same time Billy Napier did as well, right? We kind of talked about both those guys were frauds. Look, I just don't think Brian Kelly's a good coach. I really don't. And I think that's shown. One of the biggest things we've talked a lot about, Austin, too, I don't know that we've talked a lot about it on, C2C Live, but I'm sure we've definitely talked about it on the official, which is the recruiting show on this network, is Louisiana is like a hotbed for high school football. And I want to say it's Cover 3 talks about this all the time, where like every high school in Louisiana either is named the Tigers or has purple and gold uniforms. Like it's one or the other, because everything there is geared toward LSU. It is, we were just joking about the Deep South here before the show. And it is very much, football god family, however you want to put it down here in the Deep South with how people feel about football. It should be very easy to recruit those kinds of players to LSU. And Brian Kelly just messed at it. Like he was just not able to get it. He was not able to get those high-end recruits. I still believe he had decent classes. Like he wasn't bombing his recruiting classes as in like bottom 30, 40s, 50s. I believe he was still, top 5 in the SEC and overall at least top 10 to 15 classes, but was just not landing the high-end recruits. And when you cannot do that in the SEC, I just don't think you can win. And I think arguably the best teams he had, which is one of the reasons why I went for our boy CJ Carr this year, was Mike Denbrock at OC. And I talked about how I thought that was going to be the guy that really did good things for LSU. And weirdly enough, I'm sure some of it had to do with the fact they had, Jaden Daniels, Heisman winner, and then 2 incredible wide receivers in Brian Thomas Jr. and Malik Neighbors. I was trying to remember who the other one was. Sure, that helped as well, but yeah, he has just not been good. I will be very interested to see if someone gives him another shot at head coach, but LSU right now is a mess. I'm very curious to see what happens now with what they do with the head coaching hire, who they bring in. It's going to be interesting to say the least. Yeah, and as Shane said, that accent was really bad at the basketball game. I just read the comments. Sorry.
I don't know who told him to do that.
I don't know.
He just did that. He just did it on his own, guaranteed. I mean, what an elite job that's open. We kind of talked about potentially it being there, and like, who would be, is that better than Florida, whatever, et cetera. Yeah, I mean, Brian Kelly, shockingly, nobody likes him, and he was just a very average coach. But maybe he just was great at Notre Dame because the schedule helped him, right? I mean, you get a lot of benefits from that schedule and a little bit of notoriety because it is Notre Dame. But yeah, what'll be really interesting is, Matt, if somebody takes him up and says, hey, like, why don't you come be our coach, right? I don't know. With everything we know about him, what administration like signs on that except somebody that's desperate?
I mean, I think he's desperate's the key word there, right? And I don't know that there's any programs right now in this current carousel that feel that desperate to me. Like the one that I would say, I don't think they'll go this route, but they just went like the inexperienced coach and it didn't work out. And like UCLA could be one, and I don't think they're going to do this, but like the type of program like UCLA would be the one that are like, well, Brian Kelly's don't come around that often. Maybe we'll give this a try. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know who would do it. The sad part is, and we've kind of seen this with, I think, I referenced this quite often. At least it was just me and Austin on the show. Austin is also a big soccer fan as well, and I know watches a lot of Premier League stuff. We see Premier League managers get rehired all the time, knowing that they're horrible. Most recently, Ange Postecoglou, I can't remember how to say his last name, who was with Spurs, then went to Nottingham Forest. Like, we see that college football too. We see these coaches who just keep getting like rehired because they're a popular name. And if we are going to be at least somewhat fair to Brian Kelly here, as Austin mentioned it, that is not necessarily a bad record. If you're doing that in, say, the Big 12 overall in your career, probably even in the Big 10 for some schools, you are considered a very successful head coach. You just can't do that at a school like LSU. I mean, Chris, you just mentioned that that's, probably the top job. I think you would argue that's a top, at worst, 10 job in the country. If that's open if every job were to open today, LSU would be at worst a top 10 job in the country. You could argue possibly top 5. This sounds like they've got decent NIL, again, with the recruiting that you can get there and everything. So I don't know that it's a horrible hire overall, because again, he did have success at Notre Dame too. So we can't say that he's just a bad coach. I think that was a bad fit more than anything else, which again, something Austin I mentioned when he got hired. I think he should probably, I believe he's from the Midwest area. I know he got his start at Felix's alma mater up there in Michigan. I believe he was a offensive play caller then. Help me out here, Austin. I always forget what Felix.
Grand Valley State.
Yeah, right? Grand Valley. Yeah.
And then CMU and then Cincinnati. He kind of was one of those original like MAC to Cincinnati or MAC to one of those Midwestern schools to then elevate.
So, I mean, maybe he goes back there if someone gives him a shot. I mean, I don't disagree with Austin. Like, it would be weird to see him go to UCLA if that ended up kind of being a rumor. I know Austin was just kind of mentioning that as a bigger school who might do something, but
he won't go there. That was not
that
me, like,
style of
that, by the way. But like a desperate school that may feel like they need to make a splashy hire after doing the exact opposite last time and having it not work out.
The only difference with him in like your typical retread hire, which is a great point, like NFL does it all the time. They hire the same people over and over again at coordinator positions, right? It's just that he has a lot of baggage, right? Like some of that stuff, I just feel like at this day and age, like if you don't have to sign up for it, why would you? But you're right. I mean, for one, there's going to be 15 jobs open, and there's going to be this giant domino effect of coaches moving.
I mean, people keep wanting to have Bryles sniff around programs, and that dude is probably a bigger scumbag than. I mean, Brian Kelly is like not a nice dude, but he also like didn't allow a systemic sexual assault amongst his players. I mean,
he's like the Bryles stuff is never going to happen. People bring it up in jest and like, oh, whatever, but it's like it's never going to happen. He's not anywhere near that degree, and he'll get a job if he wants a job. but it's to your point, Austin. It has to be somebody that's desperate. So.
In jest, it would actually be really funny if, Rutgers is not that Rutgers is ever having a good year, but if they were to fire Schiano and then Brian Kelly go there, do you think we get the press conference or basketball game where he's like, "Oh, I don't know how to do a Jersey accent,"
walks
but
in with like his shirt like way unbuttoned, just a bunch of taco meat out. He's like
super tan.
What do you say? Oh, I just soprano stuff going through my head the whole time. Yeah, it would be pretty funny. It'd be nice to see. You'd be probably closer to nailing that accent.
I mean, I could see, Auburn's next head coach, Brian Kelly.
I think he goes back like Midwest. Doesn't he just feel like if he wants to be successful, it's like Big Ten, like Wisconsin or something?
I was going to say Wisconsin, then maybe you start throwing that one out. They keep saying they're not going to fire Luke Fickell. I mean, that feels like, I don't know what his buyout is, but feels inevitable at this point. I don't know.
They're bad. Wisconsin's like bad. Yeah. Offensively, I've never seen anything worse for like a program that should in theory be decent.
In fairness, what QB number are they on? I mean,
yeah, but
I don't think they were going to be great before that. But
they recruited with like Tanner Mordecai was a bad choice. Billy Edwards was a worse choice. They got Danny, what was his name from San Diego?
Danny O'Neal.
Danny O'Neal, he was bad at San Diego State in like an offensive friendly system. Like Fickell, he's bad luck with all the quarterbacks getting hurt, but at the same time too, he picked quarterbacks who were not good. So even when they were healthy, it wasn't good.
Can I throw something out there about Luke Fickell really quick? Just because it actually,
because he's a Buckeye,
connects with Brian Kelly. All of Luke Fickell's success came when Mike Denbrock was his offensive coordinator. Just saying.
Yeah, Denbrock leaving LSU should have told us that maybe Brian Kelly was on the way down, because Denbrock has proven to be incredible.
I said that.
Yeah,
I thought that was
not to say anybody didn't. I'm just saying reiterate the point. Like Denbrock's been incredible. I mean, Carr's been great as a first year starter. I mean, even if Carr's a great talent, that's still an incredible job done by him to make it happen with a bunch of raggedy old receivers that nobody expects to play in the NFL.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, my always biggest thing was that I did love me some Desmond Ridder. Did not work out in the NFL, but was very good for you college fantasy wise. I mean, dude was amazing. He was finishing, I believe, the last couple of years as like a top 5 quarterback. And then again, the biggest reason I really started looking into how good Mike Denbrock was I'm sure you guys remember, I'm pretty sure it was after the COVID year, and at Arizona State when Jaden Daniels' teammates were picking out the stuff out of his locker room, making fun of him leaving. He goes to LSU, and I don't think any of us thought that was going to be a good fit, and then ends up turning the dude again into a Heisman winner, and he's been amazing in the NFL too, which is something we thought as a true freshman, right? We were like, okay, this guy's somewhat interesting here at Arizona State, and then just didn't end up working out. And yeah, I mean, just he is an incredible coach.
You want to talk about people never getting another job? Herm Edwards, am I right?
Yeah, you're not wrong there either.
Not
Antonio Pierce got one though in the NFL, but yeah, Herm Edwards is done.
Shockingly, old school NFL players don't do things that are pretty kosher or PC. Yeah. Shockingly.
Oh yeah, we should. It happened up in Michigan too. Pretty sure. They did win a national championship, though.
Rebuttal.
No. I'll stand down. I'll just let that dog lie.
So we've covered Brian Kelly's a POS, and we don't know where he ends up next. What's next for LSU?
Whoever the top option is on the board gets the first phone call. And I think, first off, apparently the athletic director is not making the hire, as we mentioned at the top of the show. It is apparently the governor is hiring this person. We'll see how that goes based on, never mind, not going to go there. Brian Kelly was not a name that we thought was available last time they searched for a coach.
True. Yeah.
So it does almost feel like a futile exercise being this guy is a hot name right now. This guy's a hot name right now, because LSU is one of those jobs that extends beyond that list of names. I don't know. Chris, do you have a name that you think works really, really well at LSU?
No, not really. I mean, it just is literally it's tough because every top like program has like an elite coach, or like a lot of the elite coaches are at the top programs, shockingly enough. And like, who would leave? You know, you're not leaving Bama for LSU or Ohio State for LSU. Like, so some of these hot names are just not going to happen. And, you know, as a Lions fan, someone said Kelvin Shepherd, the defensive coordinator, but like if he's just good at his job for 2 or 3 more years, like he's going to get an NFL job. So like, even if I'm thinking of like big NFL coordinator names, if you're doing a great job and can get the likes of LSU to hire you, then why wouldn't you just stay in the NFL for a couple of years? So I just don't know what that name is besides the typical, right? Like your Lane Kiffin style of choice, just whatever, like the coolest name that's always been brought up, right?
Yeah.
Could they go for a guy like Arbuckle? I don't think Arbuckle's been the problem recently at Oklahoma, for the record. I think Mateer has been the problem. So
is he a sexy enough name? Because I do think that matters in this situation.
I mean, yeah, we don't know what the governor wants to do.
That's true.
Never thought I'd
he still needs
say
to
that on this show, but that's where we're at right now. But it does feel like LSU, I don't want to be careful with how I phrase this, almost recruits itself. Like, if you have a coach that the high school coaches all kind of believe in and like at LSU, you can keep 85% of the in-state talent in state without really having to do that much, like realistically.
It's like what you said, Matt. It's like if you're a kid in the state of Louisiana, you love LSU, and the coach is really just don't be the worst person in America. And you're probably good, right?
Colin Hurley tweeted out in support of Brian Kelly today. I was like, buddy, read the room. Like, stop. You're literally the only person that is saying nice things right now. Please stop it.
Look, maybe he realizes that Brian Kelly's probably going to the G5, which is where he needs to be to start. And so, you know, he's just putting that out there. So
I think he could play to school.
We'll see.
I think he could play. I mean, not next year, but I think he could get there. I don't know, just throwing that out there. That made me chuckle. Like, everyone's like just tweeting stories about how much of a scumbag Brian Kelly is. And he's like, nobody's ever believed in me more than Mr. Kelly. I was like, oh boy. Okay, buddy. Let's calm that down.
I don't, because like Chris mentioned Shepherd, but I don't disagree with what he said there. Like, if he's already being considered for LSU, I would imagine he's probably getting at some point in the near future considered for NFL jobs. And I just feel like that's a lot. I wouldn't say a lot less pressure, but probably a lot less work. You don't have to worry about the recruiting among everything else going down the college level. And I get it. I believe he was a player at LSU. He was here just a couple of years ago, I think, on the coaching staff, or he was playing. So like,
he was there for like a year, I think. Like, he wasn't there too long, but he played there. Yeah.
I get the connection there. I know I've heard some people mentioning Joe Brady because of his time there at LSU, and I know he's been somewhat good here as of late. I don't know that he's a guy you'd bring in as a head coach, though. I just don't know. Like, to me, because obviously, you know, Shane mentions it in there, Kiffin better stay at Ole Miss. I actually kind of agree with Shane. Like, I don't know why you'd leave Ole Miss for LSU. I know it's a better job, and chances are he would get the money behind him. I do actually think Lane's a pretty good recruiter, or whatever the staff is he usually has with him does a pretty good job recruiting. He tends to get at least a couple guys here and there. He's turned some 3-star guys, you know, Quinshon Judkins, one of them, although he ended up transferring out, obviously, because he wanted more money. Like, he does tend to find some guys here and there, but like, I just think if he even has a couple of the years he's having right now at Ole Miss, at LSU, he's out. Where at Ole Miss, if you go whatever 10-3 or 9 wins, like, Shane's not wrong. They're going to make a statue of him.
I mean, Ole Miss is going to get tired of that though eventually too, right? Because we have said the same thing about Penn State, and they got tired of James Franklin doing that exact same thing. So
maybe, yeah, but I think here's where I disagree with you on that. No, because Franklin was having the year that Penn State is having now. I think if Lane Kiffin does that, where he's all of a sudden losing to schools he shouldn't lose to, then yeah, sure, maybe they will. I think the reason Franklin finally got fired is because he was then losing. I think Colin put it to you this one on Campus Life, because then he started losing to schools he shouldn't lose to. And that was the problem with Franklin. I think if Penn State would have won 10 games again this year, Franklin would still be in the job. I don't think they would have fired him.
What about we like to say with recruits, you follow the girlfriend. What about following your daughter's boyfriend? Doesn't she? You guys don't know that she dates
No,
the
Weeks?
linebacker for LSU?
I did not know that.
What is she? Whit Weeks comes off real weird to me.
We're not
Lane comes off
diving
as
into like
Lane
why
comes off
Whit
as a
Weeks
super
was
normal
appealing.
guy himself. I mean, you know,
We're not-
he's like, the thing of why he always throws up is because he just pounds coffee before the game, and he's like, I know it's gonna make me throw up, but it's like it's my thing. It's like, you
it's
slow.
We're not diving
it's-
into the.
what's it? It's a superstition. You didn't have any superstitions before you played?
None of them made me throw up every single time I was on the field. I'll tell you that. I did
mean,
have
same,
some,
but
you know, I ate a big
weird
bag
ones?
of Swedish fish before every game in high school, but didn't make me throw up.
Interesting.
So
That actually feels like it could have made you throw up.
Yeah.
It's
never did. Never
a
did.
stronger stomach.
Made
than
me
Whit
made me
Weeks.
stronger, I think.
What about, to get us back on track? I apologize. And a coordinator in the NFL that like potentially could come back to college, because I think maybe they're just not really an NFL head coach. What about like Monken at Baltimore? He's been rumored at times to be linked
he
to
has
like
been.
a cool college name, or I
I
think
mean-
maybe. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say I think that would be a great thing for LSU if they brought him back. I don't know what he did recruiting wise when he was at Georgia, but I think you could obviously argue the reason they've been, you know, chanting "Fire Mike Bobo" every game, or you know, Georgia fans talking about him being up for every next job is because once Monken left, that offense has just not looked the same. I think Monken would fit in perfectly with what LSU has been. At least my recollection of LSU growing up was incredible defense. And then offense, just like enough to win games. That switch with Joe Burrow and that offense and what they did under Ed O. And obviously, was it Joe Brady? I believe, the offensive coordinator that year, wasn't he?
Yes,
I'm
he
sure
was, though.
that was probably more Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, and Joe Burrow, but Brady got some of that credit as well, obviously. And ever since then, it's kind of been like the high-flying offense with some good defense. I think that Monken would fit into that narrative if that's the route that they wanted to go.
Yeah, I was thinking him. I mean, he coached Lamar Jackson. He coaches Lamar Jackson. Like, that's about as cool as it gets, right? Like, if you're Derrick Henry, right? Like, you have that NFL pedigree with these insane names. Like, I think he would be. I don't think you would have to worry about necessarily recruiting, because what we've already mentioned. Or, you know, another name that could be it would be like, would LSU be happy with Brent Key? Like, I feel like Brent Key's tied to Georgia Tech, and they're very happy. He's very happy with it. But if you're Brent Key at Georgia Tech, I don't think you would turn down an LSU offer.
No, it feels like one that you take. I mean, LSU is the like at worst 5th best job in the country.
Yeah, 5th, 8th,
roughly.
something like that.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's one you take. What about, we just mentioned him? Could you coax Denbrock back? He's
As a
never
head
been a head
coach, though?
coach.
That would
Maybe
be,
he doesn't want to be.
I would think he doesn't want to be, in the fact that he's been as good as he has been through Cincinnati. Was it 1 year at Notre Dame? I can't remember if he ever went to. He did. He was with Brian
He's
Kelly
in-
at Notre Dame, wasn't he? Before he came to LSU.
Yes,
Yeah.
he followed
Okay.
Brian Kelly there. Yeah.
So I mean, and he's had. I mean, again, I think you could go back through all of those offenses, and they've been some of the best offenses that schools have had throughout that time. I wouldn't hate it. I don't know what he looks like from the recruiting side of things. So like, I don't know what, I mean, if you can bring in a staff that can recruit, then I don't think it matters. Especially, I think Denbrock shows up. If he shows up in the state of Louisiana and his pitch to the kids is, again, I got, you know, Jaden Daniels, a Heisman, look at what Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. did here at this school. You're going to be able to get those top end recruits to go there. Maybe you even get Tristan Keys to come back from Tennessee if that's what happens. You know what I mean? So
I think that ship has sailed.
maybe not. You never know. It's not over until December or whatever it is, signing day. LSU's got money now.
Or not anymore. What's the age that LSU would to stop at? Because Denbrock's 61. Is that too old to hire a head coach?
Maybe in Kelly up there too.
Kelly was up there, yeah. Denbrock's like 59, 58. I just looked.
What? Okay, if we want to go a little bit younger, what about like Danton Lynn, the DC at USC?
I don't know. I don't know anything about him besides he made them not. They made them better at defense significantly.
Yeah, and he was great at UCLA before he went across the city there. I don't know. I mean, he's like a younger guy. His name hasn't come up a lot recently in there's like a hot coaching name, but I think he's a guy that could energize a school like LSU. Defensive first.
If you want to go the young route, there's 3 guys that come to my mind. I think 2 of them are gettable. One of those 2 you probably don't want to get. One's in state, and the other guy I don't think is. Kenny Dillingham, Alex Golesh, and John Summerall. Those would be the 3. If you want to go the young route.
Summerall was like 50s.
43. No, he's like 45. No, I think he's like 45.
Oh, okay.
He's young. So Alex Golesh, I know, is in his 40s, and so is Dillingham. I just don't know that you can get Dillingham from Arizona State. He's the one I would say I don't think is gettable. Maybe you can, because again, I don't disagree. LSU's a top 5 job. Oh, I think you definitely ask. What he turned Arizona State to a playoff contender in what, year 2?
Yeah,
I think
that's another. That's like a Brent Key type name where it's like the guy feels like he's comfortable and happy where he's at. But how could you possibly say no to the opportunity?
Is Key a Georgia Tech guy? Because like that's the thing about Dillingham too, is he is an Arizona State grad. So like I'm sure eventually if the right job comes along, you could persuade him. I don't know.
Brent Key is a Georgia Tech guy. Yeah, he went there.
Okay.
Apparently.
He went there. So he's a nerd. Interesting.
I would say here's the thing with both of those 2 that would make it interesting is Key loses Haynes King after this year, right?
He's got it.
Yeah, he's gone. Now, granted, Aaron Philo has looked good. So, I mean, yeah. Do we know? I don't think that Arizona State currently has their next quarterback on their roster. Now, maybe he just goes into the portal again because I think there's a chance Levitt goes CFL. I don't know that he will.
I don't think he could at this point with all the
so?
injuries and the. I think he's looked good, but I think he's looked good more from like a fantasy perspective.
Like such doo doo at this point that I think if he decided to come out, he'd still be probably a high pick.
Valid.
It's this quarterback class is not looking good at the moment. The NFL wants quarterbacks, but. He's been in the SEC, obviously. I know for sure the 1 year at Auburn. I'm pretty sure. No, I think it was Florida State and Memphis after that. So only the 1 year in the SEC. But I mean, I think you just ask. I mean, again, John Summerall's there. I think if you're the Tulane coach, no offense, you're probably I'll take the job and see what happens. But
I think Dillingham is a very good name. It's one of those, just like I said earlier. Summerall, I don't know. He's been good. I think he would have to make a big splash. They'd have to make the playoff. And I think they'd have to like show some success there for LSU fans to get behind it. Otherwise, it's like you took the lower program in Louisiana's coach. That just kind of feels odd, even though I think we all respect him and think he's a good coach.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit different when you're LSU.
Where was Les Miles before LSU? Like I'm trying to think of where some of these guys have been. Saban was at was he directly from Michigan State there? So like that's not like
Miles was Oklahoma State.
That's right. So I mean that's bigger than Tulane, but not like stealing from a big time program.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know that it matters too much that they have to get the biggest name. And again, I just think LSU like within whatever parameters kind of recruits itself. Like obviously you have to put an effort on that front, but it's not like you have to make sure you find the recruiter to come in there and coach. I don't think you have to in that particular job at all.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't disagree with you on that. Like, again, if we went back to the Mike Denbrock point, if it was Denbrock who came in there and was the head coach, again, I think you could get kids from Louisiana buy into that because of what that offense was. And you maybe just go out and get a pretty good defensive coordinator to kind of sell that part. And if you can just have, a good couple, if you can have a good first year, I think kids will buy right back into that and be like, let's go back to LSU. Or Mike Denbrock, you sit down in that room and you say, hey, look, whatever 5-star kid here playing in Louisiana, you are going to be the key piece in us helping rebuild LSU to the glory that it was, and that you pull on the heartstrings a little bit and get those kids to come there. I think that works as well. You just have to get a head coach that is competent enough to do that.
Good final word. Yeah, I like that.
Load bearing. I like it. That might be the first time we've ever. I'll have the research guy look and see if that's the first time that phrase has ever been uttered on C2C Live. I suspect it may be. All right, so I think we kind of wanted to talk Heisman here because we really haven't talked a ton on this show about the Heisman race this season. I don't know that I've heard that much Heisman talk at all because there isn't really a guy that's been crushing it this year. I think there's who do you think wins the Heisman and would you personally pick for the Heisman are kind of different discussions. Maybe we want to do who we would personally pick first. Chris, do you have a name that you would pick if you had to today to vote for the Heisman?
Well, I think the Heisman stuff has ramped up this week because of Diego Pavea's comments, which I thought were oddly like, what was he supposed to say? Like, oh, I'm not going to win the Heisman.
What were his comments? I don't know what he said. Please.
Basically, they said like, do you think you should win the Heisman? And he said like, hell yeah. Like, what is he supposed to say? You know, it's like,
no, it's not that big of a deal. Thinking about that.
Yeah, okay.
You could give the political answer, be like, oh, I'm just thinking about our next win. Who do they have a big game this week, don't they? He could have been like, look, right now I'm just focused on
knowing what we know about Diego Pavea. Yes, do you think he would have ever said that? And apparently he's a great guy in the locker room, great guy to like staff and stuff like that. I think
do not doubt it. Do not doubt it.
He's not the guy I think should win. I think if you're doing it right now, it has to be, in my opinion, Simpson or Mendoza, right? Like I think Indiana, incredible stats. I know the schedule is soft and that's kind of a little bit disheartening, but they did beat Oregon, so that's helpful. And Mendoza was fine. And I think just ultimately he's got the stats on an 8-0 team that's ranked top 5. Like it makes sense. Yeah. Ty Simpson, I think, is really interesting. He's had an underwhelming game or two, but at the same time too, he's been incredible. And it's Bama, right? So I think both of those make a lot of sense if you're picking one right now, but both feel underwhelming just as it is compared to previous years.
I mean, I think both feel underwhelming at the moment because we just haven't, they talk about this on the broadcast and everything, right? Like the Heisman moment. I don't think either one of them has really had that.
Are either of them capable of having one? They're both like the unsexiest type of QBs ever.
I think that Mendoza can have that if he makes a big throw in the Big Ten championship and beats Ohio State. That will be his Heisman moment. I don't know. I mean, Alabama's probably going to get to the SEC championship game, but I think they have a lesser chance of winning that because I just don't think they are as good of a team, as weird as that is to say about Indiana. Like, I really actually think Indiana is a really good team. I don't disagree with Chris, though. I think it's probably between those two. I just don't see who else is in the conversation at this point. Like,
Marcel Reed is a really interesting name because of how he's performed, and
he's been very consistent every single week.
The dual threat piece is that helps, right? The Heisman moment is a lot easier to get when you can scramble and dodge a defender or throw a guy down, right? Like it's much easier to do that from a quarterback if you're a dual threat. And he's been great. So I think big name and stuff like that big school and stuff like that makes a lot of sense. Probably just on the outside looking in from those two, though.
Well, I think if Texas A&M stays undefeated, which is possible, I mean, I thought their biggest hurdle was going to be that Missouri game coming up, but now with Zollers, true freshman quarterback, in against that defense, they get Texas at the end of the year.
Good. They've given up a ton of points this year. I know historically they're typically pretty good, but
they haven't up until the last 2 weeks. They have not, if I remember correctly, not given up a ton of points.
Notre Dame.
They've been good. They've also kind of played a lame schedule.
That was like the third game of the season, or second game of the season.
Notre Dame? Oh, yeah, it was like the third game of the season.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, again, I think it's still, you're talking about a true freshman in Matt Zollers, though. I think they are going into Missouri.
Arkansas scored 42 on them.
Arkansas's not a bad team. I said I was my bad. You were right. My bad. I was mistaken.
They didn't give up any points to like Auburn.
Well, Auburn sucks. So
their schedule has been not your typical SEC schedule.
Yeah.
So,
but
it's still like no shade at Zollers. He's a true freshman, and that's just kind of how it goes sometimes.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
it doesn't matter how good the other team's defense is. So
I thought their best chance to slip up was going to be this week with the way Missouri had been playing. But again, now Matt Zollers is in at quarterback. I think it's going to be a tough look. I love Matt Zollers. I think it's going to be a tough game to win regardless. If Marcel Reed is able to do that, then they beat Texas and they play Alabama in the SEC championship game. I do think that game could boost both of those guys. My bad. I didn't realize my phone was on. That could raise both of those guys. I know, unprofessional.
That's a fine.
I apologize.
That's
humble brag.
Right,
humble brag.
I'll take it. It's only because of someone watching the show now getting mad at our Texas A&M hate. Chris won't know. Austin might know who that is. Anyways. It is a girlfriend. Yes. Marcel Reed. If
She
he ends
watches
up
the show.
doing that, she does. Watches every show. And then
I can't.
usually
I don't
texts
think I
me
could
in
pay my
comments,
wife to listen to any of our shows.
which is why I usually turn my phone off. That was my
Hmm.
bad tonight. Vacation mode. I'm not paying attention as much as I used to. Anyways, back on point. If they were to win the SEC championship and beat Ty Simpson, I actually do think that would help out Marcel Reed a lot because their stats are not that dissimilar. I mean, which is actually surprising. I'm pretty sure Ty Simpson has better stats than Fernando Mendoza, which I would not have guessed based on how good the Indiana offense has been. So overall, I think it comes down to those two, and I think that Reed can jump into the conversation and probably the only other one that can jump into the conversation again because of where they will go. Because whether it's fair to say or not, I think it's the same thing for a lot of the awards. A lot of these people who vote on these things do not pay that close attention to college football at times. And at the end of the day, they're going to look at who these players beat, what they did in the SEC or the championship weekend games, and then the stats that they have and vote for that player. So I think that could bump Marcel Reed up into the conversation. I would pick Fernando Mendoza, though. I think, again, he's having an incredible season. That offense has been, fairly unstoppable. They beat Oregon, which I think at least I had as the number one team for most of the year until they got beat by Indiana. I think Oregon is a very good team.
You were alone in that one, buddy.
I was alone in that one, but still, there was at least one of us out there. It was me who was picking Oregon to be very, very good. He ended up beating them. And again, if he ends up going into the Big Ten championship game and beating Ohio State, it's a massive feather in his cap, especially with everybody now talking about Ohio State. It's like Ohio State and then everybody else below them. So if Mendoza does that Big Ten championship game, I would say that all but secures him the Heisman this year.
They have a pretty lame schedule the rest of the way. It's pretty weak, like Maryland, Purdue, Penn State.
Oh, yeah. They have nothing until.
So they should. I was shocked. I thought maybe they'd have somebody else, but I guess Penn State just losing its luster kind of does that to a schedule. Yeah. Austin, who do you think is going to win?
I think all the names, if you just go on like DraftKings and look at like the top whatever odds, I think all these dudes stink. Like I wouldn't vote for any of these guys in like a good year, or like a normal year.
It's possible Mendoza ends up with like 36, 37 touchdowns passing. Is that to like 4 interceptions? Is that not good enough?
No. I mean, it's just like the most like ho-hum boring win one game and that's it type season. Like I don't know. I don't know like how some of these names like are on here you could seriously actually considering voting for.
I mean, like, Ty Simpson's on pace for like 30 passing touchdowns to 1 or 2 interceptions.
He only has 1 interception on the year.
Yeah. 1 interception on the year. A couple of rushing
Simpson
touchdowns.
Only has 1. Yeah. I believe he's got more passing yards than both Reed and Mendoza as well. That's what I'm saying. Like Simpson, even though he's, as Chris K mentioned, he's had a couple bad games in there, despite what people want to admit. But he has very good stats if you look at him. But again, Mendoza's, it comes down to like 72.9 completion percentage, 73%. That's good. I'm sorry. That is really good. And I understand Indiana hasn't played the toughest schedule, but again, you can only play who's put in front of you. And they did beat Oregon. And again, I know it was only a 10-point win, but Oregon was really not in that game, which is again why I think Indiana possibly.
But I thought Indiana was definitely the better team.
Yeah,
I don't know what like the post-game win expectancy was on that, but I'd imagine Indiana was around at least 60%.
Then they went in and defeated the most recently undefeated UCLA team since the new coaching staff took. I don't know if you guys saw that Curt Cignetti press conference, but he leaned heavily into that. Since this coaching staff took over, they are undefeated, 3-0 record, 56-6. Like I really think they have a chance to beat Ohio State, and that's what's going to get him the Heisman Trophy. I don't disagree with Austin. I think this is, for the first time in a while, a very underwhelming kind of like Heisman list. Maybe that's why Diego Pavia ends up winning it. And, we get the the speeches of all speeches there.
It just feels like a NFL MVP, like best QB on the best team is who's going to win this year. Or like the top
always been like that though, team. Right? Most of the
recently, really? Has it?
Jaden Daniels did it with like 4 or 5 losses. RG3 did it with like 5 losses like 12 years ago, whatever that was. But besides that, it's basically best player on the best team.
It's been Travis Hunter and Devonta Smith, but Devonta Smith was the best player on Alabama.
Well, Bama won a ton of games, right?
Oh yeah, they were incredible. Devonta Smith was the reason they won the the national championship. He was destroyed.
You meant it from
from not quarterback perspective. Not quarterback perspective.
Yeah. I honestly think you have to go back pretty far to find because I think for some of these, like you do have to differentiate like the top QB. The team is the top team because their QB was
Right.
just a flamethrower all
That's kind
season.
of how it works, right?
But like,
Yeah.
I don't know how far back you have to go.
I don't know. Pull up the list of previous.
I'm looking at them.
okay.
Sam
What are you-
Bradford.
What are
in
you looking for?
2008, Jameis in 2013, like a QB that won the Heisman, where his team was like the
No,
best, was considered like the best team, but they weren't like the QB would just kind of was there.
Winston,
You know?
that was the year that Florida State won the Heisman, though, or not the Heisman, the national championship.
I wouldn't say
Winston,
Jameis,
didn't
but
they?
like that's probably the closest because like after like Baker,
Yeah.
Joe Burrow,
yeah, Baker
Caleb
was the
Williams, they
dude.
weren't the best team that year. Kyler Murray's in there, Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Like Mariota was awesome. That's why he won it. Johnny Manziel, A&M wasn't the best team in the country. Like I'm supposed to say, like,
Yeah.
and it's actually Jason White in 2003 might be like the last one where it's like he existed and it was the best team, and so he got the award. It's actually been a really long time since we've kind of had that. Whereas the NFL kind of happens like every year.
It's been a long time since we've been kind of this It's been this underwhelming of a Heisman race. It's fair to say.
You know what's going to be interesting? I just looked at Bryce Young. What do you think Bryce Young did his final year at Alabama, where he won the Heisman?
40-something touchdowns, right?
32 touchdowns.
Oh, okay.
He's going to have worse stats than Fernando Mendoza. And that was the year. Didn't they have all the stuff? No, that's not that year because I was thinking of like Devonta and all those guys. That was earlier than that, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was Mac Jones.
That would have been Devonta and what's his name were gone, but Waddle,
Ruggs.
No, Waddle and somebody else were still there. Ruggs
was
Judy,
gone with,
and Devonta all came out
Yeah.
the same year, I
Yeah.
believe. And it might have just been Waddle then.
No, I thought
'Cause
Waddle
they were
was
like the big
27.
four. Oh, and Jameson.
Jameson Williams. Yeah, Williams was there with Bryce Young. He transferred out of Ohio State.
Yeah,
He
because Waddle
wasn't there
got
when-
hurt returning a kick or
Yeah.
a punt or something like week 3, week 4, somewhere around there. And then
Yeah,
Jameson
I'm almost
Williams
positive
kinda hit
Jameson
the
Williams was there because that
accelerator.
was the year we couldn't get Felix.
Okay, so Bryce
By the-
Young, we can
by the way, I
maybe
lied.
qualify with that.
I lied. He won it the year before he went out.
Okay.
So he won it in 2021.
Well, yeah,
when
because he
had
got
the
hurt.
stats.
He got hurt in his
Yeah,
final
yeah.
year because
He
that's when
won it
Mac
the
Jones
year-
took over. Yeah.
How many
I
touchdowns
was
did
like,
he
wait
throw?
a
40?
second.
Oh, wait, no, yeah.
He had like
That was before that. Never mind.
42 or 47. Yeah.
That-
yeah.
It's been a really long time. That has not happened in a long time in college. It just feels
You just
icky
let
to-
it simmer. We still
Yeah.
have 33% of the season left.
Okay,
Yeah, that's true.
but
I mean, Reed is the
make-
only fun name in the.
That's what I was about to say. To make that argument,
Yeah.
I think Reed is that player. Then in this group, I actually think. I think you could make the argument Mendoza is as well.
Why not
Nathan says
Hayes-
Waddle and Smith were same draft class. So then,
Why
yeah,
not
none of those
Hayes
guys
King?
would have been there. It was just Jameson.
No, it was just Jameson. Yeah.
Why not Haynes
Yeah, well-
King in terms of valuable plus stats are
Well,
great?
We both tweeted this out, Chris K, when someone said the Diego Pavia Haynes King is what everybody wants Diego Pavia to be. I would not hate it if Georgia Tech goes and wins the ACC championship and ends up getting a bye and into the as a top 4 seed into the playoffs. I would not hate it. I think Haynes King is having a phenomenal year.
If they go
rationalize
undefeated,
that.
if they go undefeated, it's because of him. So
Yeah.
the stats
Well,
are
and
gonna
there would
back it
be if they go undefeated. There's a win over Georgia.
Yeah.
In there. Win over Pitt. They're a wagon. That's all I'm saying.
up. I mean, you'd be beating Miami too in the championship.
Yeah,
would have
I mean,
taken
that's-
as well.
That's what I'm saying.
That's,
So if Chris brings up Haynes King, it's him and Reed. I think him and Reed are the two that fit that criteria. Because if Reed does that, again, you're beating, despite Texas not looking good, you're still beating Texas. And then you're beating likely Alabama in the SEC championship game. So you're beating Ty Simpson to win that. And I think you could argue Reed taking the step up that he has this year, whether it's because of Klein or just improvement in play, is the reason Texas A&M is undefeated. He has had a lot of really good games.
What about? I don't think it's going to happen because the first 2 games went the way they did. But like Jeremiah Love is having an insane season, and
I think you can't
his
give it the
odds
love
are-
because I don't think you can give it the love because Carr has also been so hot. I think they split
Yeah.
any sort of vote for Notre Dame because I was thinking the exact same thing. I just think
Then
you
you're
can't
out
have-
on Julian Saying then too, right?
I don't know that Sayan's the reason that Ohio State's been good this year.
He's not.
Actually, I feel pretty comfortable saying he's not. So no, I would not vote for Julian Sayan. I actually think the plus 380 is really funny on him. He might be the worst, like in terms of like guy that I think could potentially win it, like odds, like performance wise this year out of any.
I mean, I think he's going to actually get a ton of votes because let's just say Ohio State goes undefeated and then beats Indiana in the Big Ten championship. Again, it's going to go back to what Chris K said. They're just going to go look at the quarterback, like, oh, look, he's had decent. Because here's the thing: can you guys guess what his completion percentage is right now?
It's probably high.
It's 80%.
I was going to say it's got to be high.
And he's actually not that far off stats-wise from Fernando Mendoza. He's 100 passing yards left and a couple touchdowns and better interception ratio. Only 3 interceptions to Fernando Mendoza's 6.
Gunnar Stockton being like top 6 or 7 is a little bit like gross.
If Georgia finishes as a one-loss team, I mean,
he's
I
added the
vote
rushing
him,
too.
but...
He's had pretty good rushing as well, which was not on my bingo card for Gunnar Stockton.
He wasn't a big rusher in high school.
No. Really?
Not that you'd been like, yeah, he's going to be a 700-yard and 10
again. This is taking out the sacks. 279 rushing yards, which doesn't sound like a lot right now, but 7 rushing touchdowns. That's more than Marcel Reed. That's more than Ty Simpson.
Well, yeah, it's not that surprising. It's more than Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson's.
Well, I agree with you.
Not a runner.
He's got 17 total touchdowns. I mean, I know Haynes King is passing has a lot to be left to be desired, but at least he has like 12 rushing touchdowns. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't
down to it, but
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's a yucky year. Hopefully next year's better.
Houston Longstreet after they fire Lincoln Riley and bring in a competent head coach.
Dumb question time. Is Longstreet a runner?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, they brought him in. I guess he came in once because Maeva's helmet came off and he ran it. Or
they had like a package or two for him in the first week or two of the season as well. Like he just like came on and they drew some stuff up for him. Yeah, he's a really good runner.
Yeah,
but Maeva isn't going anywhere.
Probably not.
I don't know. It's good. Yeah, he doesn't have to. I don't think he should, but in a weak QB or maybe he thinks that he can sneak into some place he doesn't belong. I don't know.
Or when USC loses a couple more games this year and then USC opens up as well, maybe Maeva leaves not being.
I don't think USC is going to fire Lincoln Riley because I think they're terrified of losing that recruiting class.
That's possible.
I think that's
why Billy Napier stayed at Florida.
Unless he walks into the AD's office tomorrow, just like flops it out on his desk. Like
he could do that. I don't know Lincoln Riley personally. That might happen. We don't know.
He's gonna. So, just saying.
Interesting.
By the way, very, very interesting choice there. Has that happened before? Did you know of someone who's done that?
No, I'm saying I just curious. Breaking ground to get fired. Yeah, I think
interesting.
Get really creative there to do that. And I feel like you don't get your buyout that case. So,
yeah, I think you're right on that one.
What do you think they cited for Brian Kelly to lose out on some of the morals clause stuff in his contract? By the way. Did anybody hear that?
That dancing video alone was atrocious. That alone, that's what I would have stated. Did you see this video? This put us back 10 years.
Yeah, they said they negotiated that buyout down because of stuff on the morals clause from his contract. I was like, I don't remember him he killed the guy at Notre Dame and whatever. But that didn't happen here. I don't know what he's done.
What did it get down to? Do you know? Have they said out loud?
I saw that it was supposed to be 54 and it went down to half that essentially. I'd almost around 27. I don't know how accurate those numbers are.
What is something? I'm sure we'll find out.
Yeah, interesting. I didn't realize that. That's a funny angle to it.
And I'm not even sure. I saw that from a couple places, but I don't know. It's not like Pete Thamel was reporting it, so you never really know. I mean, that Cyclone Larry guy is out here reporting that Colin Klein's going to Oklahoma State. So, you just never really know in the college football sphere. Some people do just get their hands on some information that they have no business holding on to.
He's tough because he's part troll at the same time. Yeah. I think there's been times where he's been right on stuff, but he's been he trolls so much on other items that I don't think you can trust him. But yeah.
Yeah, makes it a little more difficult. The beauty of college football, right? All right, top 25. Matt, we have a graphic that's good. We do. Sweet. Look at you. You were probably working all show on this, weren't you?
Yeah, that's why I was just chiming in on random thoughts and everything while you guys were talking.
All right. Well, here is the official C2C Live top 25 for this week. I don't think there's really anything that's terribly controversial, but we can talk through some of this. I mean, Ohio State, Indiana, 1, 2, A&M 3. That's all 3 of our orders. And actually 1, 2, 3, 4 is the same for all of us. Ohio State, Indiana, A&M, Alabama. I don't know that we need to have that much of a discussion about any of those. Where we do diverge a little bit is 5, 6, 7, 8. Chris and I have Georgia at 5, and so that they obviously are sitting there. Matt, you have Oregon at 5.
Yeah.
It's turned into a little bit of a fetish. And then
we all have our own. We all have our ones.
The one that actually I found really interesting though, Matt, is because you had Ole Miss ranked ahead of Georgia despite the fact that Georgia just beat Ole Miss. I want you to talk me through that a little bit.
I just think Ole Miss is a better team.
Fair enough.
I probably should care more about what happens on the field, since that was more than likely my argument for most of the things that we talked about earlier this season. But I think at this point in the year, we have enough data points that we can point to just different things. And I think here's the thing. Ole Miss was in that game up until the very end. I stated this, I believe. I don't remember if we did college fantasy tonight after that game or not, Austin, because we've kind of been hit or miss on being able to do the shows together recently on the Saturday nights. But I remember talking about how I actually wanted to give Lane Kiffin a lot of props for the fact that he did what he did with Trinidad Chambliss in that game against that Georgia team. I think if they were to play each other again, I would still pick Ole Miss to win that game. I just think that they are overall the better team. So I'm going to have them ranked there. I mean, again, I think most of the time people do this neutral field, blah, blah, blah. I think Ole Miss would beat them. So I'm going to keep them ranked higher.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the easy pickings there. They played at Georgia. It was a close game. You could argue that a neutral field, it would have been Ole Miss.
All right. Just the rest of the top 10 here: Oregon 6, Ole Miss 7, Miami 8, Georgia Tech 9, and Texas Tech 10. Chris, you actually have Texas Tech the highest of all of us at 8. Let us do. Why is that?
I think their defense is incredible. I think they're very well rounded. It just literally just depends on if Baron Morton is going to be healthy. They have. By the way, did you know Mitch Griffis was at Texas Tech?
No, was that Saturday night that we talked about that, Matt, or was it on Campus Life? I was like, Mitch Griffis, what the?
It is on Campus Live. Yeah, that Saturday was the first time I found that out as well. So
incredible! What a pleasant thing to see on a Saturday. So hopefully Morton stays healthy, but I think they have 3 really good receivers. They have a very good tight end. They spent a ton of money on defense on different positions of need in the offseason. I think their run game is good. Like, I think all the way around, I just think they're a very good team. A little bit of caution, I guess, concern for me would be that maybe they haven't played a well-rounded, tough schedule consistently, but at the same time too, they beat Houston really pretty handily, and they're in our top 25. And they beat Utah. So, yeah, I'd like them. Utah. Yeah. I think the interesting one for me is you and your love for Miami.
Me? Yeah.
Matt. No, Austin. Yeah.
It was me. Yeah. I actually had Miami at 6. I don't know. I mean, outside of the Virginia game, or not the Louisville game, I mean, I think they've kind of been handling their opposition pretty decently. I mean, they beat Notre Dame. I think that win continues to look better and better. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just think I know that Georgia Tech is undefeated. I think Miami would kill Georgia Tech if and when they play. I can't. I know that Georgia Tech has one less loss, but I can't in good conscience put them over a school like Miami. Kind of same with Texas Tech. I don't think they'd stomp Texas Tech, but I think, I just think they're a better team. I don't know. As I look at the rest of the schools that are directly behind them, I mean, I think Vandy is super fraudulent. I think BYU is fraudulent. I think, I just keep going down the list here. It falls off really, really fast. I think they're kind of like the last team that them and Notre Dame that I could see maybe making a little bit of a run in the playoffs. I'm
a little bit worried of Carson Beck.
Yeah, he's up and down.
That 4 interception game against Louisville is kind of a stinker. But I think you're downplaying Georgia Tech a little bit. I'm gonna look. I guess
they have beaten literally nobody.
But I think that's a team that kind of plays to the level of the opponent. When you have this offense that's very control the football, drain the clock, just don't make mistakes, but also be very boring, like you're yawning right now. I think that they could easily compete with Miami and have no issues beating 23-20 type of thing. I mean, we didn't think they'd have a chance against Georgia last year, and they took them to 8 overtimes, right? Yeah. So I think that's a team that would never really beat a team like 45-0. Never really impressed the voters like that, but I think against a Miami, they'd have no issue just keeping it tight and squeaking one out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't actually. Where do I have? Do I have Miami ranked ahead of Georgia Tech? I believe I do, but I could be wrong. I do not.
No.
Do not.
I don't. And I mean, I don't disagree with Chris. I mean, again, I think Miami is just my problem with Miami is I just think they are the exact same team they were last year. The only difference is they don't have Cam Ward to bail them out in those big moments. And I don't disagree with what Chris said about Carson Beck. And I just think if it really does end up being an ACC championship game of Miami versus Georgia Tech, which I think seems probably likely. I actually don't know who else Miami has on their schedule. But like Georgia Tech, like even if they lose to Georgia, it doesn't matter. If they win out the rest of those games and lose to Georgia, they're still making the ACC championship game. I think I'd pick Georgia Tech to beat Miami. So I just don't know that defense stops or slows down that offense enough to win that game.
Miami's been pretty good defensively this year. Where have they given up a ton of points?
They have that really good pass rusher.
Yeah, they've got Ruben Bain. I mean, they've got two good pass rushers. I forget the other kid. The kid on the other side is pretty decent too.
Right now, Virginia is in contention for the ACC, and they don't play anybody. Yeah. They play Cal, Wake, Duke, and Virginia Tech. So Miami doesn't even have control of their own destiny, what have you.
Yeah.
Having to rank Virginia at all makes me like angry as I have to do it. It makes me physically angry and slightly ill.
As seen by the fact that you have them 3 lower than the both of us. But
yes.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm supposed to give them credit for. Their best win is FSU, which isn't a good win. I don't know. They barely scraped by a UNC team this week that is just atrocious.
Won by 2 against Washington State because the Washington State guy called fair catch at the 2-yard line.
Yeah,
which is great.
Yeah, I mean they are just if I could go back a few hours in time, I would take them out of my top 25. Not really, but like they're terrible. And it's crazy that they might push for an ACC championship game berth. But such is life with unbalanced schedules now.
Yeah, it's just the joy of having the right year, the right team on the right schedule.
Yeah.
Some other schools in here. I mean, Oklahoma, Missouri coming off a loss. We have them at 19 and 20. I think we're all kind of similar on our rankings of them. Do either of those? Missouri, do they drop out here soon with Zoller as a quarterback?
Yeah, it's inevitable, right?
Yeah. I mean, they get Texas A&M this week, which I would expect they're probably going to lose to, which then gives them 3 losses. And even if that drops them down to 25, they then play Oklahoma in a couple weeks as well. And like, I think Oklahoma probably at this point, assuming Mateer slowly gets better, if that happens, probably wins that game as well. So that completely knocks them out if they don't either. I could honestly see both these teams being out, though. Oklahoma has a very tough schedule the rest of the year as well. I would imagine neither one of these teams finish in the top 25. I mean, Oklahoma has Tennessee, Alabama, then Missouri, LSU. So like they don't have an easy schedule either to finish out the year.
Yeah, I think it's inevitable. It's unfortunate, but kind of how it goes when you lose your quarterback in the SEC. It's never really a good thing unless you're Ole Miss.
Yeah, tough to come back from that. Any other just school in the top 25 that either of you guys want to highlight? I see Washington crept in this week. I don't know that they've beaten anybody, but I mean, we are here. I mean, I don't know who else you would really rank above them. Chris, I don't think you actually ranked them. So
I had them below Texas.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. I debated that.
It's tough. I mean, yeah, it's tough. You guys have Washington over Michigan, which is interesting.
Yeah, I do. And maybe I shouldn't.
And that one, I think that one wasn't really even close. Like at least the Ole Miss Georgia was close, right?
Yeah.
But
it was like 24-7.
24-7. Yeah. No, okay, but like my thing with that is who's Michigan beat?
I know.
Besides
right?
Washington.
Besides
Washington.
Washington destroyed Illinois, who was highly ranked, at least in the top 25 for everybody last week. And Washington went there and destroyed them.
I don't know if that's enough to like cover the fact that one beat the other, but I do. That is a decent enough win. Michigan's schedule has just been what it is. It hasn't really been anything, right?
Yeah,
Nebraska is their best win besides Washington. So, like, what really is there to that schedule?
I don't know. For me, with what I've seen out of Washington, has been a tad bit more impressive than Michigan. Not that I thought about ranking Michigan over USF. It was not a like I barely put USF there just because of the season they've had. I don't have an issue with that. If Michigan being in the top 25, but I've been impressed with DeMond Williams and what Washington has done.
What about where were you guys with Texas? I have them 25th. But you guys have them 26th.
They would have actually
26 for you, or
they would have actually been 26 for me, and I really debated hard putting them in over a couple of the schools that I ranked low. I just at the end of the day, I mean, is Arch going to play this week?
He was in concussion protocol so far, I believe this week.
I mean, I'm watching the Jackson State game right now on the side here, and they were just doing a piece on Caldwell at halftime. So, which leads me to believe that it's at least a possibility that he plays.
Jacksonville State game.
Sorry, what did I say? Just regular Jacksonville.
You said Jackson State.
Much different. Might be. Sorry, Jacksonville State fans.
I mean, the backup does have a 100% completion rate.
He does.
Actually,
I think he only threw 4 passes.
Won him the game in overtime too. I mean,
yeah, he did. Yeah.
So there's something to that one.
Yeah.
I mean, I just have been severely unimpressed with Texas, I think is the best way to put it. How they've only lost 2 games this season is beyond me. I think they probably should have lost more than that. It's just been a very unimpressive.
I mean, they
season.
probably should have won the Ohio State game though. So it all evens out at the end of the year. The luck, maybe.
I mean, I don't know if they should have won. I don't think that they were the better team. They were technically, I think, driving at the end of that game, if I'm remembering correctly, before Arch threw the interception. I think is what I don't remember.
I thought they were the better team overall on the day in that game. I think if you look at like the success rate stuff from that game, they were a decent amount better.
Hey, Matt, who is White Chocolate?
I don't remember now. I just know that he was mentioned by somebody recently.
I was curious if you knew who he was, the Texas receiver. But anyways,
no,
Caldwell doesn't have 100% completion rate. He's 8 of 11, but that's pretty good. But yeah,
never mind, he stinks.
I'm out on him now.
Hold it in, yeah.
But yeah, Houston is that funny Big 12 team that just out of nowhere pops up and is like good. Yeah, Willie Fritz. Decent. We've never talked about Willie Fritz as a name, but I mean, he's done an insane job at Houston turning that around. 2 years.
Yeah, because they were bad.
They were like bad.
Yeah,
like unwatchable.
Yeah. They've revived Connor Wickman. I actually am going to change my stance on one team and a player on that team. I think Jeremiah Love is going to win the Heisman this year, and that might propel Notre Dame fairly easily into the playoff. I mean, did you see
Ohio State?
Have you? No, I said Notre Dame.
Jeremiah Smith or said Jeremiah
Love? Jeremiah Love and Notre Dame. No.
Where's this coming from, Matt?
Did you see their remaining schedule? There's a chance he puts 200 rushing yards on each one of those opponents.
I said this in like week 4. I told Ethan on Balling with My Bestie, like he's gonna be the number one. He would be my number 1 running back throughout the rest of the season because they played nobody. The only problem there is that he has no good wins. They have no good wins. But his stats could be incredible.
I was looking at that and I was wondering, like, if they were to give him the Heisman this year after snubbing, in my opinion, Ashton Jeanty last year, because he won't put up close to Jeanty stats, like that might cause some kind of riot. But again, Boston College, Navy, Pitt, Syracuse, Stanford, and he just put up 200 rushing yards on USC, if I'm remembering correctly. Like, there is a chance that he has a massive end to the season that might propel him up there to at least being in the conversation. I don't know if he'll actually win it. But
he's actually not had in full scope an insane statistical season. He's probably it's only on pace for like 1,400-ish rushing yards. Something like that, maybe.
He only has 700 rushing yards right now. Which, I mean, again, you'd think he added 200 this last week, so he's only at about 500 7 weeks in.
It's a bummer we don't have a real awesome defensive player this year because this was a year where maybe you could start making an argument for it.
The Miami defensive end is the name that you hear. This is why I think there is a little bit of legs to like the Pavea piece. Not to say that he should win it, but if Vandy finishes 10-2 or 11-1, you'd be crazy not to put him top 5 because
would Pavea be
and I
the
know
worst
Matt,
Heisman winner in like 60 years?
No, Eric Crouch would be that guy, right?
Didn't
Triple
Crouch
option running
still
game?
put up like a ton of stats though? Like Pavea
Yeah, but he got
hasn't like
drafted
done
to
like
play
nothing.
safety. To me, there is a level of in a season where there's no real like a clear guy statistically. I think there's legs to why you should vote Pavea as a top 4 to 5 Heisman guy. I don't think he should win it, but like when was the last time Vandy was good? Right? Like there is a level of impact to that. And that's why I think if they were to finish like 11-1 or 10-2, like you could consider him and it wouldn't be wrong.
I mean, if everything holds though the way that it is right now, right? If we're looking at our top 25 and everything holds the way that it does right there, then I don't think he gets voted in regardless. Because I think, again, we talked about it. I don't think deserves to be there, but I guarantee Julian Sam probably gets votes because of the stats in Ohio State having the record they did. Fernando Mendoza, Ty Simpson, Marcel Reed, and then probably Haynes King if Georgia Tech goes undefeated as well, wins the ACC. I think Haynes King's probably the 5th vote over Diego Pavia.
I don't know if they would bring 5. Could you imagine bringing like 5 very average?
They usually bring 4, right?
Sometimes they bring 3,
3
sometimes
or
they bring
4.
4. I think it just depends. But yeah, I mean, they do play Tennessee, they do play Texas, and then they play Auburn and Kentucky. So a little bit of like a softer middle there, and then 2 more respected names.
Wait, they play Texas is this weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, Texas this weekend, and then Auburn, Kentucky, and then Tennessee. So
I guess we'll see.
All right. Well, I think we can end it there. Apologies to Kirk Herbstreit. We went over talking about that last Heisman segment. Really, just is what ended up doing it. So we'll get him rescheduled for next time. Make sure you're checking out everything over at campustocanton.com. Everything, or all the other shows here on the podcast feed. Until next week, guys. Good night and good luck.